All right, we're going to learn how to solve these radical equations, and the steps for solving them is to always make sure you isolate that radical term, which is the part that's under the root sign, okay? Then you're going to square or cube or bring it to whatever power that root is, the power of the root. And so normally that's a square root. If it's got the 3 there, that's a cube root. If it's got a 4th, that's a 4th root. So you're going to take it to the 4th power there. You would take that to the 3rd power squared. And remember that those just sort of, they're the opposite functions, so it gets rid of the root sign. Then you're just going to solve the equation for x, because your goal is to get rid of that root sign so then you can solve for x. Okay, so we are going to work a few problems. So we've got the square root of 7x minus 18 is equal to 5. Well, our radical here is already isolated. So we're just going to take both sides, and since that's a square root, we're going to square both sides of our equation. Well, when I square the square root of 7x minus 18, remember that takes it out from under the root sign and just leaves me with 7x minus 18. When I square 5, I get 25. Now all we're doing is solving. So we're going to add 18 to both sides. So that gives me 7x is equal to 43. Divide both sides by 7, so x is 43/7. Okay, we've got on number 2, we need to isolate the radical. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides, leaving us with the square root. 3x minus 8 is equal to 3 minus 1, which is 2. Well, now we're going to square both sides since the radical is isolated. So this side gets squared, this side gets squared. Well, remember that just takes that outside the radical, leaving us with 3x minus 8 is equal to 2 squared, which is 4. Then we're just ready to solve. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. So 3x is equal to 12. We'll divide both sides by the 3, so x is equal to 4. All right, so now we have an 8 cube root of x minus 24. So let's work on isolate the radical again. We're going to add 24 to both sides. So we've got 8 cube roots of x is equal to 24. Well, notice this radical is still not isolated. He still has that 8 out there. So we are still working on isolating the radical. And get rid of that 8 by dividing both sides by 8. That leaves us with the cube root of x is equal to 24 divided by 8 is 3. So now this is a cube root. So we are going to cube both sides. So we're going to take that to the 3rd power, take both sides to the 3rd power. That gets rid of that cube root, leaving us with just x. And 3 cubed is 27. Remember, 3 cubed means 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So your answer there is 27. All right, let's look at a few more. Again, we're going to isolate the radical. It's always our first step. So we're going to subtract the 7 from both sides. That gives us 4 square roots of x is equal to -4. Well, notice that radical is still not isolated, so we're going to isolate the radical again by dividing by this 4, getting everything away from that radical. So the square root of x is equal to -1. Well, take note that a square root cannot equal a negative number. So this one then has no solution. All right, we're going to just keep going. Number 5, we're going to isolate the radical. We need to get this all by itself, so we're going to subtract the 6 from both sides. So now we have the 4th root of 2x plus 3 equals 7 minus the 6 is 1. Well, you should be thinking by now we need to take that to the 4th power on both sides to get rid of that 4th root. So whatever that root is, that's what power you have to take that to. Okay, so the 4th root of 2x plus 3 raised to the 4th power just leaves us with 2x plus 3. And 1 to the 4th power is just 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is still just 1. So now we're ready to just solve the equation for x. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So 2x is equal to negative 2. Divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to negative 1. All right, we have one more example. We're going to isolate our radical. Hopefully you're sort of seeing the steps here. So first we're going to do our addition. We've got 5 square roots of 7x plus 4 is equal to 25. We're still isolating that radical because we still have this 5 over here, so we're going to divide both sides by 5. We've got the square root of 7x plus 4 is equal to 25 divided by 5 is 5. Now we're going to square both sides because we have a square root again. So square this side, takes that outside of the radical. 5 squared is 25. Now we're ready to just solve for x. So subtract 4 from both sides. So 7x is equal to 21. We'll divide both sides by 7. So x is 3. So hopefully you're seeing the steps there. It's not too hard as long as you take one step at a time and just really work on isolating.